everyone, welcome to Start the Conversation. My name is Lindz. I'm a white Jewish person with short brown hair wearing a purple beanie and a gray sweatshirt that says protect trans kids over the trans flag colors. I use they them pronouns and I identify my gender as trans masculine non-binary. Today we are going to explore the question, how does gender make me feel? We'll also answer questions like, how do I show my gender? How do I feel my gender? How do other people see my gender? And really just lots of questions about gender. First, let's talk about some important vocabulary that will help us answer some of these questions. Let's review a term that we learned in our last video. That's the gender spectrum. Instead of a gender binary, boy and girl, we have a gender spectrum. The gender spectrum includes girls, boys, and non-binary people. It's kind of like the color spectrum. You have black and white, but in the middle there are all different colors. The gender binary has girls and boys, but there are all different colors of genders in the middle. That's a gender spectrum. How does your spot on the gender spectrum make you feel? Once I figured out my gender, I felt incredible. But it wasn't always like that for me. That's because I didn't always know that was my gender. And that has to do with something called your gender assignment. When your parent was pregnant with you, a doctor probably helped them give birth to you. And when you were a brand new baby, that doctor gave you an assigned gender based on what your body looked like as a baby. They said, it's a boy or it's a girl. Sometimes the gender that doctor assigned us is correct. That's awesome. But sometimes that gender assignment is wrong, and that's not so awesome. Think for a moment about how you feel about your assigned gender and if it matches where you are on the gender spectrum. There are words for people who identify with the gender they were assigned at birth, and for people who do not identify with the gender they were assigned at birth. Someone who does identify with their assigned gender is a cisgender person, and someone who does not identify with their assigned gender is a transgender person. Take me, for example. I was assigned a girl at birth, but now I identify as non-binary. Think about whether your gender matches your gender assignment to figure out if you are cisgender or transgender. How does that make you feel? I have a book that will help us explore what gender can be. It's called When Aidan Became a Brother, written by Kyle Lukoff and illustrated by Kaylani Juanita. First we will read and then we will play a game that helps us explore the story. When Aidan Became a Brother, written by Kyle Lukoff and illustrated by Kaylani Juanita. When Aidan was born, everyone thought he was a girl. His parents gave him a pretty name, his room looked like a girl's room, and he wore clothes that other girls liked wearing. How do you think Aidan feels? Not so happy, right? But as Aidan got bigger, he hated the sound of his name. He felt like his room belonged to someone else, and he always ripped or stained his clothes accidentally on purpose. Everyone thought he was just a different kind of girl. Some girls had rooms full of science experiments and bug collections. Lots of girls didn't wear dresses. But Aidan didn't feel like any kind of girl. He was really another kind of boy. It was hard to tell his parents what he knew about himself, but it was even harder not to. It took everyone some time to adjust, and they learned a lot from other families with transgender kids like him. Aidan explored different ways of being a boy. He tried out lots of names until one stuck. They changed his bedroom into a place where he belonged. He also took much better care of his new clothes. How do you think he feels about his gender now compared to how he felt in this picture? Pretty different, right? Then one day, Mom and Dad had something to tell him. "I'm going to have a baby," Mom announced. "A baby?" Aidan said. "Does that mean I get to be a big brother?" "Of course," said Dad, ruffling his hair. Aidan thought that being a big brother was an important job for a boy like him. He wanted to make sure this baby would feel understood right away. The baby needed clothes, so Aidan and his mom went shopping. There were so many choices. Would the baby like seahorses or penguins better? "Are you having a boy or a girl?" asked the lady. Aidan didn't like it when people asked if he was a boy or a girl, and he hoped the baby couldn't hear yet. He was glad when Mom just smiled and said, "I'm having a baby." The baby's room needed to be painted, so Aidan and his dad went to the hardware store. Dad chose a gallon of sky blue paint, and Aidan added a puffy white cloud. "Are you excited for your new brother or sister?" asked the paint guy. "I'm excited to be a big brother," Aidan said. The paint guy looked confused. Aidan could tell that he wanted to ask a different question and was glad to have his dad there. How do you think Aidan feels right now? Kind of sad, right? The big rollers were fun to paint with. "This room feels just like being outside," Aidan exclaimed. He had always felt trapped in his bedroom before they fixed it, but his new sibling wouldn't have to feel that way. "You're right," said Dad. "Let's make some shapes in the clouds." Do you see any shapes in the clouds? Every baby needs a name. Aidan loved getting to choose his own, but he remembered that it had been hard for his parents to let go of the name they gave him. He looked for names that could fit this new person, no matter who they grew up to be. Do you see any cool names on this page? Babies need someone to read to them, so Aidan practiced. And practiced. And practiced. Dad wanted to teach Aidan how to change diapers. Maybe later, said Aidan. He decided that picking flowers for his mom was more important. How do you think Aidan feels picking the flowers and smelling them? Pretty good, right? 2 weeks before the baby's due date, Aidan started to worry. Maybe he should have picked different clothes. The blue walls might be too bright. He wished he could ask the baby which name they liked best. How does Aidan feel now? A little anxious, maybe, worried. Mom came to tuck him in. "Are you feeling okay, sweetie?" she asked. Aidan put his hands over where he thought the baby's ears would be. "Do you think the baby will be happy with everything?" he whispered. "I don't want them to feel like I did when I was little, but what if I get everything wrong? What if I don't know how to be a good, big brother?" Really good question, Aidan. Mom hugged him tight. "When you were born, we didn't know you were going to be our son. We made some mistakes, but you helped us fix them. And you taught us how important it is to love someone for exactly who they are. This baby is so lucky to have you, and so are we." The next morning, Aidan found the boxes of his old baby pictures. He looked so different back then. It hadn't been easy, but he liked the boy he was growing into. Maybe everything wouldn't be perfect for this baby. Maybe he would have to fix mistakes he didn't even know he was making, and maybe that was okay. Aidan knew how to love someone, and that was the most important part of being a brother. How do you think Aidan feels now? I hope you enjoyed When Aidan Became a Brother. It's one of my favorite stories, and I hope it's one of your new favorite stories too. Now we're going to play a little game based on When Aidan Became a Brother. There are 2 parts of this book I want you to remember right now. the woman at the department store who asked Aidan's mom if she's having a boy or a girl, and the paint guy at the hardware store who asked Aidan if he's excited to have a brother or sister. Is there something you notice about these two interactions? How does Aidan feel? Worried? Sad? What are some other words for how Aidan might feel with the lady at the department store and the paint guy at the hardware store? We're going to do a little reenactment of those two situations, when Aidan met the woman at the department store and when Aidan met the guy at the paint shop. So, how might you respond to the woman in the department store? Think about what your response might be if you were Aidan and you had a question like that. Let's try it. Maybe you would say something like, "I don't know," or "It doesn't matter to me, I'm just excited to have a baby." Let's try it out. I'll say the line from the woman in the book, and you'll respond as Aidan. Ready? Okay. Are you having a boy or a girl? Oh, okay. Great job. Thank you so much for doing that with me. Do you think we can do it with the paint guy too? All right, awesome. So we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to say the line from the paint guy at the hardware store, and you are going to respond as Aidan. How might Aidan respond to the guy at the hardware store? He asked Aidan if he's excited to have a little brother or a little sister. How might you respond to that? Maybe you say, "I'm just excited to be a big brother," or something like that. You come up with something on your own. All right, are you ready? Let's try it. Are you excited for your new brother or sister? Oh, that's great! Thank you so much for doing that activity with me. Do you think you have a better understanding of how gender makes Aidan feel, especially when he's having those different interactions with the lady at the department store and the man at the paint store? So what about this question we asked at the beginning of the video? How does gender make me feel? How does your gender make you feel right now? Can you show me? Why don't you pose and show me how your gender makes you feel right now? I'll demonstrate first on 3. 1, 2, 3. That's how my gender makes me feel right now. So why don't you try on 3, okay? Show me how your gender makes you feel right now. 1, 2, 3. That's awesome. Thank you so much for exploring gender with me today, and hopefully you have a little bit of a better understanding of how gender makes you feel. I know I do. And thank you so much for reading When Aidan Became a Brother with me. It's one of my all-time favorite books, and I hope it's one of yours now too. Thank you so much for starting the conversation with me today. Again, I'm Lindz, and you can check out my work making LGBTQ+ and social justice media for kids and families over at Queer Kid Stuff. Bye now!